You're locked back in with me, your host Hakeem, for another episode of the Willie Bobo Show. I decided to keep it moving today, yo. I'm on a roll, and I love it, right? Today on the second half, we're gonna take a look at a real hard look conversation happening around us, and we're talking about division. This is how most of you throw up a peace sign. It's not peace. This is. And how that division is being used against you, specifically the working class community. Now, we live in a time where a lot of people feel the pinch, if you will. But we're being told that the reason that we're struggling is because of someone else, right? It's always someone else. This us versus them narrative, it's not accidental. You have to understand that this is strategy. Now, when we're busy blaming each other, we're not looking at who writes the legislation. And we aren't looking at who is actually calling the shots. So the goal of my show today is to get you to stop looking at the noise and start looking at the systems that are actually dictating your life. So we're going to start with healthcare. For over a century, the United States has struggled with the idea of healthcare as a right. Wow. And we'd like to consider these people to be human beings. It's not possible. Too much Neanderthal. History shows that a racial bias has been a key factor in derailing these efforts. And for decades, politicians and power players use the fear that black people might benefit to turn public opinion against national healthcare systems, even when those systems would have materially improved the lives of white citizens as well. Stay with me. We've seen this practice in the policies like the 20% co-insurance in Medicare, right? I need you to think about that. By making patients pay 20% of their bill, the system wasn't just promoting personal responsibility. It was creating a barrier to that healthcare. Researchers have shown that cost sharing like this is basically leading people to delaying necessary care. That's what they were hoping for with black people, but you understand, we're resilient. Can't kill us that easy. Especially those with low incomes. Now that, hopefully they were getting their mind together right to do this impossible shit, but they were really hoping that the worse it got, the worse the healthcare outcome would be for our community. Of course, you're looking at Tuskegee and so on, shooting syphilis up in us, dropping crack and AIDS on us. These motherfuckers have really tried. They really have tried. Massacres and the whole shit, slavery, you get it? Now, it's a design that hits the most vulnerable the hardest. But it's sold to you as just the way things work. Just the way things are. Right? No. That, my friend, is the economic distraction. Okay? So why do they do it? Why create these barriers? Okay. Simple. It's about breaking solidarity. If the working class in the United States stood together, the power dynamics would have no choice but to shift. Black Panther Society. So they use racial situations and separation, discrimination, as an incentive structure, offering a false sense of status to white Americans in a place of actual prosperity. Because again, their whole object is to take the most ignorant of white person, and trust me, there's a whole lot of them because they are extremely narrow-minded and poorly taught in those areas where they manifest on racism. So in so many ways, when we see the housing where systemic biases and mortgage lending keeps communities of color from building wealth, while policies that appear neutral often carry forward these same patterns, and when political actors frame public goods like healthcare, education, or infrastructure as only benefiting black people, now the support for those goods declines, even when everyone could benefit. Everyone loses in this scenario. I'm not sure if they realize it. Well, I'm pretty sure they do now. But for those racist, ignorant, backroad trailer park inbreeds who don't get it, you're fucked too. Because the working class across the board forfeits the benefit of collective investment just to keep a hierarchy that is never meant to help them in the first place. Wake up. Message. It's here. The bottom line, simple. They want you to hate so that you don't realize that you're being exploited. They bank on your division to maintain their power. But when you vote against their economic interests because you were told to blame a different community, you aren't winning. You're not winning. You're just keeping the system running. We need to stop focusing on the other and start looking at the structures themselves. Are you intelligent enough? Are you logical and reasonable enough to do so? We need to demand that healthcare, wealth, and opportunity are treated as collective rights, not rewards for playing a game that's rigged against us. Nah, that's called cheating. Pay attention. Stay informed. Don't let them play you against your own people. Back on that 20% thing, I'm not sure if they realize that this has backfired on their racist behinds, because that 20% thing, it's a lot of white people in this country that can't afford that shit. That southeastern corridor of Ohio, that northwestern corridor of North Carolina, that end of Virginia, that drop of West Virginia, that East Tennessee area. You have to look at that. Down in Bama, Mississippi, and so on. Those are the racist individuals who can't afford the health care either because they got to pay the 20%. Wake up. Wake up before the thunder claps us all. And it's over. We got strength in numbers, but we're divided by the digits. Hand on the trigger while the community fidgets. We're screaming for the freedom, but we trapped inside the cipher. Walking through the flames just to see who burns brighter. We bleed the same blood, but we war for the block. Same old story, different black fingers squeezing the Glock. Strength in numbers. Y'all wake up from the slumber before the lightning strikes and we buried by the thunder. Hasta light. Willie. Peace.